Hey everyone, I think this is working. I hope you are all enjoying your day off and that if you're tuning in, I really appreciate it and hope it will also be an enjoyable part of your snow day. I wanted to start by going over just something from the homework from yesterday. So this is 493. Number 17. Here it gives us the inequality 4x minus y is greater than 6. In order to graph this, we know that we have to turn it into something that's y mx plus b. We learned yesterday, and we should know by now, the first step is always going to be to move the x term to the other side by addition or subtraction. So that becomes negative y is greater than negative 4x plus 6. Now, a lot of you will probably want to write that as 6 minus 4x, which is the same thing, but we want the x term to be first for when we, because we want it to look like mx plus b. We want our slope x term to be before the y-intercept. Now, how do we get rid of this negative in front of the y? This is something that has definitely bothered us a lot this year. If you divide everything by negative 1, you will get rid of the negative in front of the y, because the negatives will cancel out, and then just y over 1 is y. But remember, since we are dividing by a negative, since we are dividing by a negative, we need to flip. We need to flip. All right. We need to flip the inequality to become y is less than, what's negative 4x divided by negative 1? That's just 4x. Negatives cancel out. 4 divided by 1 is 4. 6 divided by negative 1 is negative 6. So now we have it in y mx plus b. So if we want to graph it, we make our axes negative 6 is the y-intercept because it's the second term. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. And then 4 in the front of x. If we have 4 in front of x, what's the rise over 1? That's really like 4 over 1, right? We should remember that from our graphing lines unit. So it's a rise of 4, up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 1. We need to connect those dots now. It's dotted because it is not or equal to. If it was or equal to, it would be a solid line, but since it's not, it is going to be a dotted line. And since it's less than, we want to shade under. So that is 493, number 17. Now, the new lesson for today is very similar, is systems of linear inequalities. So just like we had systems of linear equations, we can also have systems of linear inequalities, and it's going to build very directly off of graphing these linear inequalities. So just like in a system of equations, you have two equations. In a system of linear inequalities, you're going to have two inequalities. So, for example, you could have a system of linear inequalities that looks like this. Y minus x is less than or equal to 3, and 2x plus 3y is greater than -6. The first thing to do is turn each one separately into a line, by which I mean write y equals mx plus b, so we can graph those. So what we're going to do in the end is graph these on the same coordinate plane. So let's do the red over here. It's a very quick one. We want to move the x to the other side to get y by itself. And we have y is less than or equal to x plus 3. That is that line. The blue one, we want to do 2x plus 3y is greater than -6. We need to subtract 2x from both sides. And we get -2x minus 6. To get y by itself, next we need to divide by 3. And we need to divide everything by 3. A lot of people see this and just do the -6 divided by 3 because that's something they can do. But this fraction is going to have to be dealt with. So 3y divided by 3, that's just going to give us y is greater than. This you can just leave as a fraction, and that is fine because it's just supposed to be a slope. -2 over 3x minus 6 divided by 3 is 2. So now we have two different lines. We're going to graph them each. So, start with the red. Y is less than or equal to x plus 3. Plus 3 is the y-intercept. So we're going to put that here. X. That's a slope. Even though nothing is in front of it, that means it's 1x. And 1x is the same as 1 over 1x. You guys should know that that means a slope of 1 over 1. So that's over 1 up 1. It is less than or equal to, so it is a solid line connecting those 2 points. And this is less than or equal to, so we want to shade under. Now, for our blue line, -2, if we can still find that over here. That's our y-intercept. A slope of -2/3 means, right, that's rise over run. So if we want to rise -2, that means go down 2 and then run 3. This is going to be a dashed line because it is not or equal to. So we're going to connect those using a dashed line. And it is greater than. So watch what I'm going to do now. I'm going to fill in, right? I'm going to shade everything above the blue line, even if it overlaps with the red shading. And this area, if you were using colored pencils, this would actually do something. The colors would actually mix, and that's what we want. This area that would be purple which is the overlap, is our answer. The overlap of the shadings is the answer. And that should make sense because, oh, whoa, what did I do to that? Well, it'll live. The overlap of the shadings is where both inequalities are true, because the red was where the red inequality was true, and the blue was where the blue was true. So where they're both true, which is their overlap, is going to be our answer. So what you have to do is, let's put some steps out. Actually, I'll stay on this for a while, so you guys can write it down. We'll put some steps down, and then we'll use them to do another example. So, our steps would be turn each inequality into a line, graph and shade each of them, and then shade the overlap, which is our answer. So let's do another example. Could have a, what are some other good colors that can mix? Red, and no, yellow won't show up. Well, will it? Yeah, red and yellow to make orange. Very underrated color, and my favorite. Alright, we're going to start in yellow. We're going to have two equations again because this is a system. So we need 2, and we will use 2x minus 5y is greater than 0. And our other one will be x minus 4y is less than or equal to negative. That's supposed to be an 8. I will fix that. Is less than or equal to negative 8. So let's work on the yellow first. We want to subtract 2x from each side. That is always our first step in these things, is to add or subtract the x term. So we are closer to getting y by itself, and that will give us negative 5y is greater than negative 2x. In order to get y by itself, we now need to divide by negative 5 everywhere. And that sorry guys, well, hi. And that gives us y is greater than, what are we going to do with this? Like I say, leave it as a fraction. Remember, that's a perfectly fine slope. We just got to know that negative divided by negative is a positive. The negatives go away. Since we are dividing by negative, we need to flip the sign of the inequality. Flip the direction. Y is greater than 2/5 x. Now, we will also do the red one. We want to subtract x from each side. We get negative 4y is less than or equal to, and we want our x term first so it can be an mx plus b, negative x minus 8. When I divide by negative 4, I also am going to need to flip because I'm dividing by negative. So it's greater than or equal to now. Negative x divided by negative 4. How am I going to write that as a slope? We should be comfortable with saying that this is like negative 1x, really, right? So I can write that. The negatives will go away as 1/4 x. Negative 8 divided by negative 4 is positive 2. So now I'm going to graph both of these. Start with the yellow. Something you guys should notice is there is no term after the x, which means the y-intercept is 0. That's something we've definitely seen a lot now. That's the same as 2/5 x plus 0. So we're going to start here in the middle. We are not going up or down. A slope of 2/5 means up to over 5, because that's rise over run. So that would put us over here. Dotted because it is less than and not less than or equal to. So that is our line there, and it is less than, so we want to shade below. Alright. The other one is y-intercept plus 2. That means go up 2. A slope of 1/4 means up 1 over 4. Actually, let's, well, okay. I will, and this is a solid line, because it is or equal to, so if I connect those, I'm gonna get something that looks like that, and it is greater than, so I shade above. Now you guys might say, well, there's no overlap, but that's because we really did not extend the yellow line far enough. Since they're not parallel, which we know because they don't have the same slope, there is an overlap somewhere, even if it's very small. And that is what we have over here. This overlap, we're going to make orange because that's what red and yellow make. I do know that. And that is our answer. The last thing to do would be to figure out how to do one backwards. So if it gives us the graph, and we need to find two inequalities. Actually, yeah, let's not do that. You guys have a great snow day. And I will see you all for the Shabbaton tomorrow. Now, how do I stop this?